the stats are 1 in 5 will suffer from a mental health issue in their life, and 5 in 5 will be impacted.
There's this idea that mental health is something that only some people have. Here's the thing, everybody has physical health, right? We all have physical health. And our physical health fluctuates. I mean, we get colds, we get tired, we age, we pull a muscle, we could break a bone. So, I mean, there's no such thing as 100% physically healthy. It doesn't exist. And everybody also has mental health. It's the same thing, right? And if we're not talking about them because we think, mental health is something that only affects certain people, that only certain people have, then we're increasing the stigma and people are less likely to get help and support.
So sometimes it can be really looked at as part of that teenage angst, right? And then it's really something really different.
I had a very close group of friends and they one day just kind of stopped talking to me. I had this voice in my head saying, oh, well, they hate you, there's no hope. There's no point trying to work things out, like you're just destined to be alone. And I just slowly became beaten down by my own negative thoughts.
One thing we know that within university campuses is that students are coming for help more than ever. But we also know there's a very large percentage, almost 3/4, that aren't.
Getting help is intimidating.
So let's systematize these things. Hell, if you have a checklist, let's make it part of a checklist. Say, okay, are you dropping it because you don't need support? Are you dropping it because your family changed? Are you dropping it for financial reasons? Are you dropping it because you are experiencing some sort of mental health concern? And being able to engage those supports at that moment so that it's not the onus of the individual, because that is one of the hardest parts about being that deep, is you need someone to help you. You need someone to just get you in that dark place and say, come on, let's go.
Nobody knows off the top of their head, this is where I go. Like if you break your arm, you immediately are like, hey, going to the hospital. But when it comes to seeking services for mental health, you have to think about it, you have to do research. And especially for someone who is depressed, you don't have the energy for that. Especially having to make all these appointments and keep track of them and have various phone calls and stuff, like that was just too much for me to handle. There needs to be a greater onus placed on universities to make a comprehensive list of every single resource that's available on campus, near campus, what it costs, here's how you access it. Like, don't make students do the work themselves, because they probably won't. They have a million other things to think about.
We can be proactive as well in asking people, hey, how you doing? How you feeling? No, really, how are you feeling? And I think that goes a long way.
It is tragically hard to dig yourself out. And when you're that deep in anxiety and depression, for me, when it was with my eating disorder, I couldn't see out. I couldn't ask for help.
The worst thing you can do is do nothing. When I was alone and sad, I just wanted somebody to see me. And I wanted somebody to reach out to me. And I didn't care what they said. I just wanted somebody.
Showing that you're not afraid when you're trying to help somebody. So it can be scary to ask those questions. Are you not doing well? Are you struggling? But I think we can, ask those questions with compassion and be prepared for somebody to say, yeah, I am having a hard time. And showing that we can handle that answer and still be there for that person.
Some people are like, oh, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do. But as long as you genuinely want to help, you're not going to say anything that dumb. Like, just don't be a dick. Don't be like, oh, that's stupid, or whatever. Like, you're not going to say any of those things if you like the person and you want to help them. So I wouldn't be that concerned about it.
Keep knocking. Don't pound on the door, but just tap every once in a while.
Being able to be aware of your emotions, of your triggers, and that comes, and I hate to say it, it comes from screwing up, right? It comes from making mistakes, and I know that I understand my triggers because I've seen them go off, and I've been able to look back and say, oh yeah, okay, that's where that went, but it was only after reflection. It
So I
was,
love what you said about being your own therapist. As much as I love working with people and supporting them, I want them to not need to see me any longer. And to know that they can come back when they need to, or if they need to. And I think you're absolutely right. It's becoming your own therapist. It's like a little therapist on your shoulder, telling you what you need to keep yourself well. And I'm a firm believer that we have the knowledge within us to find out what we have and what we need to keep ourselves well.
Children that are very anxious many times end up being adults with anxiety problems. And it's normal for kids to be anxious, but it's more than that.
If anybody, our parents out there, like explicitly talk to your children, like you can come to me, I want you to come to me, it's okay if you're sad, and all of that stuff. We explicitly say it, don't just assume that they know.
but we talk about it, and so our parents actually feel like they can talk about it now too. Because I know that they've struggled with supporting someone like me, right? In dealing with a child with mental health issues, it's been hard on them. So I've tried to make it a point to, whenever I see that in students, whenever I see a student who's suffering from some sort of mental health issue or who is struggling with their mental well-being, is also help support the parents and say, look, there are parent support groups because you need to be strong for them right now, and you need to be able to talk about it, and you need to be able to feel supported as well.
So much we want to give advice for those parents who are watching their children and hurting for those children and can see what they need to do. You need to listen to them first.